over 100,000 people got laid off to date this year alone. But there has been an 80% increase in indie agencies in the industry. There are two different graphs.
Right.
There's a lot of startup indies.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how not to make the mistakes that, we've already made.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how we build a business.
The industry is bloated. People need something that's a zag. It just cuts through, and I think indies are the best to do that.
Welcome to Soul and Science Crashing Can, and this is the Indie at Large edition. And today we are going to find out and explore with a lot of interviews why the next agency or brand should hire is an indie one. I'm Jason Harris.
I'm Lindsay Harris, and we're joined by Chuck McBride, the founder and CCO of Cutwater, and Bill Oberlander, the co-founder and creative chairman of Oberland. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh my God, such a thrill.
Thank you
thrill. For coming up 4 flights.
Yeah. Oh, man. It was like nothing, It's not that hot
96
out.
degrees.
It's totally fine. It was totally fine.
It was like a sauna.
We want to start with a fun question, to kind of like get a vibe check. So what would you say your can vibe is in 3 words?
Miserably hot? No, that's 2 words. Sorry. I have to tell you, this is the first time I went to the Collins house, and it was really intimate. I think smaller is better, which kind of gets back to the indie idea.
Oh.
So just innovation and, culture leaders were all gathered in one place, and you can actually get access. I gave a hug to Flavor Flav. Like, it was great.
So maybe 3 words are smaller is better.
I think it's Flavor Flav, 1 word.
Flavor Flav, I think is 2, but look, smaller is better works.
I think
Smaller is better.
Smaller is better. That could work.
Okay, ready?
Would you take that?
Okay.
I would do that. I think I would say explore new territories.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so give us the background of Indie at Large.
Sure.
How you started it, how you guys started talking, and then ultimately, what is the purpose of it? What are you trying to get out of it?
Yeah. Well, we'll start with what it isn't. It's not a conference or forum or an event. It's those are where we go. We want to bring independence to those kind of places where we know that high worth clients are hanging out at, and make introductions to this kind of new creative resource.
So, Bill, what's your take on any different than what Chuck described it as?
I describe indie at large as the punk to disco. I feel like we're kind of the renegades, coming back and taking over the bigger system, the sound system of the agency world has become so big and soul holding company and so tech ad and all that stuff is just overwhelming. And I think we have to get back to what's real.
Follow-up question. The agency world is a knife fight. Yeah. Like someone takes your client, you take someone's client. There's so many agencies, 15,000 agencies or something like that. So it's highly competitive. How do you work with you have a lot of people that have signed up. How do you work with all these independent agencies and make it collaborative and not competitive?
We haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
This organization is 7 weeks old, so we haven't had a scenario where anybody's stealing business or.
I meant like, how did you get people to sign up for it? You know what I mean?
I think it was like word of mouth. I think we kind of poked a bear. This is a pent up need.
Yeah.
That people are kind of jonesing for, and it was just word of mouth and LinkedIn and phone calls, and everyone's like, "This is the best thing. Why didn't we think of this before?"
Yeah.
And I think in any kind of field of business, it's really smart for those businesses to get together and talk about the problems that are going on in their category, in their industry. And that's what we're trying to do.
I love that.
Let me just add to that. I feel like indies are feeling a little too indie, like they're almost siloed and left behind and feeling alone. So this is kind of a call to action to create community. Indies need partners.
Well, and we need a place to go when we're in these kind of events.
Right. Yeah, I think it's really smart.
And just jumping off of that too, coming from an indie agency myself, I just feel like there's a lot of passion, right, about being an independent agency. Yeah. So I think you get all these people in the room together and it galvanizes all this energy and you're excited, like community, like you said. So I do think there's just something about like the pride of being independent.
We've really never had our own party.
Yeah,
and
that's
kind of what we're trying to create.
Tell me about you worked previously before you started your own thing at shops that were owned by holding companies. Right. What's the big difference to you?
Well, I started McCann, which was large, and then I went to Kirschbaum and Bond, which was small. There was only 17 of us. What I discovered there were two things. One was a shared vision. It was only 17 of us, and we wanted to be the bad boys of advertising, and that was kind of our love language, if you will. So that shared common purpose gave us the true North Star to really get everybody galvanized and all excited about the same thing. And that sense of energy and community and just fuck it allness was really electrifying. The second thing is that's when I met Kenneth Cole, and he was the first purpose-led marketer I ever met doing his whole Stand for Something campaign.
Wow.
So anyway, went to Ogilvy, then I went to McCann, then I went to JWT, and I kind of plateaued and decided I want to do something more purposeful and get back to what was really exciting. And I was on the Ad Council Creative Review Committee, and I was doing all kinds of social impact work there. And I said, I want to turn my business into something more like, or I wanted to create a business, something more like that. And that was the birth of Oberland. But I had to go to Robinhood first to get the creds, and then. Oh,
right. That was kind of like getting your master's, right? Yeah. Your master's in purpose. Yeah. I like that.
My first client.
Yeah. Oh.
So I
think that's what I did.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there we go. All right. You got your first client? Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
And Chuck, you launched Cutwater within Omnicom and then went fully independent in 2011. Was there like a catalyst or a moment where you're like, I have to make this move?
It was very much so. Yeah. I think we were one of the first people to actually separate from Omnicom. I've been in and out of independence and into big holding companies, big difference. And our time is billed against the client, right? And so everybody wants you to spend less time and bill more. And I don't think that's the way independents operate. We spend more time with our clients. We're more accountable with our time. And I think we give them, just more attention.
Can has sort of become a tech and holding company trade show. Really, if you look at who's spending the big bucks,
it's a client trade show too,
and a client trade show. How do you? And this is obviously your first year doing something like this. How do you stand out when you're, the underdog and smaller and independent, and then you come here and it's, everyone's spending millions and millions of dollars? How do you guys stand out?
Well, they get sexy Jason Harris, step in.
I don't think that's going to do it. I don't think that's enough. What else can you do?
Well, it's called Indie at Large because we're kind of, we're small, but we're everywhere. So we've done 2 events on Monday. We had an event last night, a dinner party for all of our folks collaborating. And tonight we're going to, tomorrow's the roundtable at EdAge. Oh, wow. And then we do a whole CMO thing at the Collins House on Thursday. So we're just trying to pop up everywhere and kind of, the Johnny Appleseed of indie, just try to get it out there and spread the word.
Yeah, typically people do things in one location, they invite everybody in. We're kind of moving it around. We're trying to hack the system a little bit.
Yeah.
And, I think by the fact that, 200 agencies have signed up.
Yeah.
So we're something's going on.
Yeah.
And I think that we're just beginning. So I think we're standing out a little bit by being a little subversive. We're not paying the rent fees that these people are paying for their spaces. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. We're actually, we're going in for free.
Yeah. I love that. So instead of like spending all the money, making your own space, you're taking your ideas and your agencies into other people's spaces. That's smart. I like that.
No, it's smart. It's getting people talking. I mean, Unfettered was a huge success, and that was a few months ago.
March.
Right? Yeah. And do you want to just tell people about Unfettered, and are you going to do it again?
We are not. This was actually spawned from Unfettered, but that is the New York club, the New York Advertising Club, and it was Rick Boyko and Paul Venables, right?
Yes.
So I was lucky enough to be invited, and I got up there with my client, did a shtick, and when I got off the stage, it was actually Chuck's partner who walked up to me and said, "We should do something like this in Cannes." I asked Rick. I said, "Are you taking this to Cannes?" He goes, "No, we're not ready for that." And then we just said, why don't we just do it on our own and see what we can do? But Unfettered was really indies kind of talking to indies about indies, and we want this to be much more about brands and clients. That's ultimately our focus.
Seeing the power of indies.
Yeah. Correct.
I just want to shift for a second away from the indie conversation, which is great. But you're both super creative. You've been in the industry a long time. We're in Cannes, which is all about creativity.
Is it?
Yes, it should be. It should be. To me, it
supposed
still
to be.
is.
About that?
It still is to me. And I really believe in the power of creativity. So I would love to know what you both think. Like, what is a checklist for a breakthrough idea?
Jealousy.
I would say just simplicity, like the NPR campaign that it just won for Mischief. It's just a really simple, obviously it's a graphic idea, which obviously appeals to me a lot. So it's a super simple, straight arrow and says so much.
And I'm super jealous about it.
Yeah, see, that's what it is. Yeah, envy makes sense.
I know. It is. I think both of what you're saying is true. When you see an idea that breaks through and it's simple, immediately you're like, I could have thought of that. Why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I do that?
That's how it feels.
Back on the indie at large piece. So, the industry has been through a lot of disruption. A pandemic, the AI revolution, right? The merging together of big holdcos to make bigger things. Why is now the right time for indie at large? And obviously it is, because you got a lot of agencies signing up. Why do you feel like this is the right moment in time?
Over 100,000 people got laid off to date this year alone. But there has been an 80% increase in indie agencies in the industry.
Wow.
So there are two different graphs.
Right.
And so what we think we could start to offer is, again, a community to start talking about. There's a lot of startup indies.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how not to make the mistakes that, we've already made.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how we build a business. I mean, again, there's so many ways you can take your business and drive it in the ground by doing really stupid shit.
Yeah.
And I think all of us have made a few of those mistakes.
Yeah.
And I think, this is a mentorship program,
Right.
as much as it is an awareness program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it seems like all the changes and the disruption out of that, what's rising is people starting their own thing, right? Out of kind of necessity.
Out of the ashes,
yeah,
right? This
ashes,
phoenix
right? Yeah.
is really these guys that, had incredible experience or laying around going, what do we do? And they go, why don't we just start our own?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
That is the answer.
Yeah. I love
Right?
that. I love that.
My answer would be that the industry is bloated. And I think it's just, especially when it's 95 degrees, it's super bloated, hot and sweaty. And I just think that like people need something that's a zag, it just cuts through. And I think indies are the best to do that. The agency I always loved was Taxi. And Taxi's, their whole premise
Started
was
in Canada, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they, Paul said, I call it Taxi because that's what it takes to create good creative is the amount of people you can fit in a taxi. And I always thought that was brilliant.
Does that include the driver?
I think the driver.
Are the drivers
I think
included?
The driver's part of the number. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So it's a 5. It sounds like 5.
Driver's the account guy.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Very, very good.
What do you think this movement will look like in 5 years, or what does success look like for you guys in 5 years with India at large?
I think one of the things we refer to as almost like the female quotient, that particular organization where it's obviously gender focused. We want to make it more of a coalition, a collection, a guild where we can feel a sense of community, feel a sense of a seat at the table to really have a voice that cuts through, this big business.
Yeah. I think the signals I would want to see is brands hiring independent agencies is a percentage in growth in that. And then as well as continued growth of opening and things like that. And the amount of clients that attend some of the events that we start doing and then getting clients to join us and having this conversation. Because again, our clients talk to each other too, right? They do conventions. There's more CMOs right now in this square mile than anywhere else in the world. And they're talking to each other and they're talking about their agencies, right? And they're talking about how their agencies perform and are there better solutions than the ones they have? Because most of them probably aren't happy with the things that are going on. Yeah. Probably some of them lost the teams that used to work for them in layoffs. Yeah. So I think we want the clients to be talking about us.
Do you think India at large beach in 5 years?
I would love that.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be indie dinghy. We can't afford it.
Well, I think you can start with an India at large bench, and then go to a dinghy, and then go to a moderately sized boat.
There's no aspiration to the dinghy part.
All right, go ahead.
the agency Joan is a really good example of an indie really performing at a global level. So when I was speaking to Lisa, she said that they got a project from eBay, and they were basically turning that project into a national campaign.
Sure.
And the good news is they were doing that for about 18 months. The bad news is she got a call from the CMO and said, "Hey, we're gonna have to do a repitch." The good news is if you win, it's going global.
Right.
So she persevered and won. And now Joan does all the work for eBay around the world. What an incredible!
Right. Yeah.
So it's a relatively small shop doing gigantic work.
Right.
And it used to be, oh, they're too small to be global.
Right.
Right?
Right.
That's starting to disappear.
Yeah, sure.
You know, if you have global experience, you can do global.
I love
I'll
that.
tell you a crazy thing. We were invited we got an RFP for a pitch, and we went through the RFI process. It took like 2 weeks, and then we were cut. And I asked why, and they said because you're not 250 people.
Yeah.
We'll only work with an agency that's 250 people.
I think we
or more.
got
I was
caught on
like,
that same RFP.
We should have merged.
Wow.
We would have been short of the 100.
Yeah. Well, I think that's interesting because what you're bringing up, who knows where what you're building will go, but it could also be about joining forces, and it could be about pitching things together. Who knows?
Resources. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
there
right.
could be resources,
And
yeah.
weirdly enough, right? You know, I know it's a knife fight, and
Yeah.
we understand
Yeah.
that, but it doesn't always have to be that way.
Right.
And especially when it comes to PR,
Yeah.
right? You know, attaching to a PR group, attaching to a media group, attaching to maybe a creative resource that's in another part of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's power.
There's a lot to it, and you can pull funds together. There's
Yeah.
so much you can do, and I know it's just a start. And I think it's great that you guys are championing this and starting
An
it.
example of
Yeah.
coming together, hyphenating. We were invited to a pitch, and it's actually for Madani's grocery stores, the 5 grocery stores in the city, which I was like, perfect. I love New York advertising, so I love New York. And part of the ask was experiential. We don't have a lot of experiential experience, so just through this process, we discovered the agency Verb on the West Coast,
Yeah.
and now we're doing the pitch together.
Oh, I love
that's
that.
awesome.
That's a good
Yeah.
example.
And I was on a panel with her yesterday.
Good luck. Good luck on that pitch.
Do you think there's a sweet spot of size for an indie?
Well, I was told once that the perfect size of an organization is 88 people.
Oh wow, why 88?
That's what the gentleman who runs Squarespace told me.
I always heard it was under 150.
Yeah, I think
That was the original one, but
Yeah.
now it's 88,
Well,
and now it's going into like a taxi size. So that's like
There's
it's
a big
getting
spread there,
smaller
right?
and smaller and smaller.
I think it's when the point when people don't know each other is a little dangerous because you start to lose a little bit of your culture
Yeah.
that way. And I don't know exactly what that number is because you can do things with the way you sit and you organize things. And to be honest, if we're still going to be kind of doing a hybrid work, then everything's different.
Yeah.
And so we just have to, challenge ourselves to figure out where that threshold is, as opposed to put a number on it and define it and say
It's
that's
true.
it.
I remember when I was at K&B, again, there were 17 people when I started. When I left, there was about 330. And I do remember around year 8, I got in the elevator and I was in the elevator with 3 other people. I didn't know their names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I certainly didn't know their last name. So I was like,
But it has a fit. I remember when that happened.
because you
in
lose your
Goodby,
focus.
Right.
You do.
Yeah.
You kind of go, man, who's that guy?
Yeah.
What are they
Yeah.
doing over there?
Yeah.
Does he
And then you
think
start getting
I mean-
jealous that you're not getting work, and they just hire
Are
people.
they getting work? Yeah.
Talk about a knife fight.
Do you guys have a personal mantra or quote that you think about that guides you?
We're listening a lot to Exile on Main Street.
All right.
And Bill tells this story about how the Stones were kind of coming down to Cannes to dodge the police because they were coming after him, and then they wrote these songs in the basement. And so it's that kind of ingenuity, right? We're taking flight, we're in the basement, we're writing music, and we're going to put out an album.
Okay.
That's our mantra.
So Exile on Main Street.
Exile on Main Street.
All right.
It's great,
Bill,
Doug.
you got one?
Stand for something.
Yeah.
That's my personal mantra, and that's what Oberland's supposed to be,
Yeah.
because we're about social impact. So stand for something. I told you when we did the podcast a couple months ago, give a shit, work hard, repeat. That's my little thing in my head.
I love it.
But I have a therapist for that.
Yeah, right on. All right, we're going to do lightning round, and you're going to each answer in one word. And then,
Although
we're
most
out.
people have not answered in one word, so
But try.
It's okay if you can.
It's hard,
great.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, the only thing harder than winning a lion is...
Winning a lion.
Okay.
Good Lord.
That's 2 words. Good Lord. All right.
Just go with good.
AI will never replace...
Humans.
Ideas. That's one word, right?
Ideas, yes. If you could track only one KPI, what would that be? Like for anything you launch?
Laughter.
God, one word. I was going to say impact.
The biggest lie in advertising is
Oh God, it's predictable.
Effectiveness.
Oh, all right. What is your favorite thing about Can?
The people. People.
Yeah, the small, intimate conversations like this.
This has been Soul and Science, Indie at Large. I'm Jason Harris.
I'm Lindsay Harris, and thank you both for being with us and for championing independent agencies. I've always believed in them, even when I was a journalist. So love seeing what you guys are doing.
Go Tumbas.
We're behind you all the way.
Thank you so much.
Soul and Science is a Mekanism podcast produced by Maggie Bowles, Ryan Tillotson, and Lily Jablonski. The show is edited by Daniel Ferreira with theme music by Kyle Merritt. And I'm your host, Jason Harris.